Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we'll be doing another part of the Alternative Future, the World Series. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. so yeah, last episode, we saw like a giant thing happen in Africa, with basically changing the entire continent and all of its relations. And down here in down here in South America, we had um Paraguay being wiped off the map, and we have unions over here in Europe. Hey guys! We also have Belarus basically joining thingy because they're basically the same country. But yeah, now let's take a look at the alternative future of the world. So yeah, Africa's civil war, coolio. But now NATO never said you can expand your alliance upon uniting. So, what they do is Sudan and Egypt unite to make the um, Egypt Egypt Empire, and yeah, so the Egypt Empire has returned, and that's cool. And the main thing why they wanted Egypt to collapse because before when Egypt had their empire, which is like before the big war, they were like very very strong, like very strong. But now this new Egypt empire is not as strong. They got through a big war. They kind of lost the war, and they took some economic stuff from it. So yeah, that's why it's not as powerful. But yeah, let's get on to our first war. Over here in Africa, we could see a big war breaks out in the Sahara Desert. what? Um, Sahara Desert War basically. These what at the what Northern African Union pushes in to the Central African Union, you could say. Um, but yeah, they push it. They cut off this part of Chad, and they just keep on pushing in. They cut down from the coast, and yeah. But then we have an ally of the Central African Union comes in and actually helps them out. Because these dudes are actually good friends. She knows. Um, they were thinking about uniting together, but they didn't have the economic stuff to do it. But yeah, so they're basically the same country, just they can't unite. So yeah, they start pushing in, pushing in, pushing in, and yeah, it looks like it's over. But then we finally have the massive counteroffensive from the Southern African Union, sure, a giant counteroffensive, and now it is here. We see a peace treaty right here. They think it's enough because they have the mentality to push all the way back to the border. So yeah, let's take a look at this peace treaty. Looking at the peace treaty here, we can see that it is a little small land grab from the thingies here. They take a little bit of Chad in the north, and they take a little bit of the things in the south. But yeah, now these guys decide to unite, and it was after a bunch of thong. And yeah, so that's Africa probably settled for the next couple of years, and yeah. So let's get on to our next conflict. It's actually not really a war, but it's kind of like a civil war. So yeah, we have NATO kind of collapsing. Misa confused? So yeah, we have Turkey leaving, we have Israel leaving, and we also have these countries deciding to leave because there's no real reason. So Myanmar, all these guys decide to leave. But then India does some funny business and does that. So that's kind of cool. Almost the entire subcontinent. what? So so that's cool. They take all of this land, and yeah, so that's nice for them. So yeah, that's India now, and yeah, um, we have India actually leaving because like it's not like a country is gonna invade them, and if they do, they will get help from China. Sri Lanka leaves, and yeah, these guys just disband their alliance because there's no real use. And we can see that the central part of the world is really like kind of neutral because you can see all of this land right here doesn't want to be in alliance with like the major powers and stuff. We have the Rio Pact kind of collapsing the peoples that were forced into the alliance, starts leaving, and yeah, so that's kind of a thing now. Gran Colombia decides to leave and unites with Ecuador, and just a bunch of different things happens. You know, it's kind of like the world is going to a peaceful approach. Uh, Venezuela gets their independence from the U.S. Um, Cuba also does, so yeah, that's cool. So their empire kind of collapsed, but you know, whatever. But finally, Canada, U.S. unites, which is kind of cool for them. So yeah, we have that happening, and you know, these two guys are basically the same country. One likes maple syrup, one produces maple syrup. Um, well, yeah, basically the same country, but colder and stuff. And yeah, so they decide to unite into one ginormous superpower. Definitely the biggest country in the world because, you know, Russia is like, yeah. So Russia, no more. This thing, this giant union thing, yes. And they even buy Greenland from, you know, Denmark. So yeah, what's gonna happen here? So you know, NATO said you can't expand your alliance. Blah 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 blah. Hmm. Russia decides, you know what? We're breaking that rule. Yeah. Iran, Afghanistan, not the world. Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, uh, Egypt. Yep. Egypt would join. These guys would join. South Africa would be in on it. And yeah, when that happens, something else happens. Okay. Well, okay. So yeah, that's that's that. That's that for you. So yeah, let's just call it Russia and peeps are gonna call in some allies. So like, the U.S. is gonna obviously call in like Morocco, Algeria, these guys in the north, and they're also gonna call in Turkey, you know, because Turkey's cool. But yeah, so they just gotta boom, and then they got Turkey on their side, but then the blue team forces Saudi Arabia down their throats, and then the red team gets Lebanon and Israel, while the blue team gets Palestine, and then red team gets Georgia, red team gets India, blue team gets Myanmar, red team. So yeah, red team no because they hate this thing in the middle. So yeah, the only peeps who don't want to get in this war is, you know, Latin America because, you know, they have their own problems. So yeah, let's get started with this war. So yeah, let's just get straight into the warring. So actually, the first to pull the trigger here is actually gonna be the CST, the Northern uh Asian Order, because you know they were more prepared for this war than anybody. So yeah, the Northern Asian Order is pushing in at mass speeds. It's no longer the Northern Asian Order. I don't want to name it the the New World Order because, you know, I've already done that before. But you know it. Yeah, we're just gonna name it Order. So the blue team, yeah, the blue team. The blue team pushes down and captures Kiev, and just they do that over and over. Yeah, what? So yeah, Chernobyl's already captured. They blow it up a second time, and you know they have all this land in Ukraine. They take all that land, and yeah, so it's look like it's going pretty well as they move into the Kaliningrad. Wait, why is okay? As they start moving into Kaliningrad, invading Poland. And yeah, it's not looking too good, Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know why I went silent there. But yeah, they're pushing into the Balkans at much faster rates than they were. They capture the capital of Estonia, and Estonia is gone. And then they go down, they capture Riga, and they capture the capital. Yeah, it's gone. So yeah, um, they push back and they recapture St. Petersburg from Finland, and they get all their old lands back from Finland, so that's pretty cool for them. Yeah. So they start pushing into Azerbaijan, because that's a cool thing for Azerbaijan, and yeah. So and they also start pushing into Turkey. Um, with that, China actually starts pushing, making an advancement into Mongolia, and it goes really well because it's very very empty here. Nobody lives here. Um, Yeah, camels live here. I know that. Mongol horde existed. I know that. But other than that, they're just yeah. So there goes Mongolia. Myanmar. You wanna get invaded again? Okay. Okay. Well, you are getting invaded again from all sides this time. So yeah. Myanmar is invaded. Uh. Oh yeah. Over here in Africa, we have the North African Union pushing in the Central African Union. They just went to war, but they're there. They are back again. Israel does not get to live another second, and they die. Turkey is being invaded. They take the entire island of Cyprus, and they start pushing in at mass speeds. Now they completely take the entire country of Azerbaijan, and it looks like Turkey is actually kind of choking in this war. But it's whatever. The blue team never. Well, technically they were the red team in the both wars. But yeah, the Eastern peoples never win a war, or do they? Because yeah, they got they're starting to push into Pakistan, and they completely capitulate Pakistan, but there's a problem. If you look over at Europe, you can see that the blue team's actually doing good. And even the blue team is pushing back. Yeah, we have pushback from the blue team in the south over here. And yeah, it's just not looking too keen on the Union, and even starts their invasion of Thingy. The reason is Africa is becoming way more technological advanced, and with the very strong countries of South Africa and Egypt, and you could argue this thing, and definitely not this thing right there. No, they have a lot better allies. So yeah, they could just push back, um, at mass speeds. They make a lot of invasions into a bunch of different countries, and yeah, it's like that. So Africa is being won by the blue team. Um, wow. Um, Egypt gets all their land back from Libya. Oh my God! Why? Okay, so yeah. We have the coast being captured just a tiny bit though, and yeah. So it's going really, really well for them. Uh, they go down and they start capturing a lot of the coast, which basically wants them to surrender, and that gives a big chunk of that country to surrender. And yeah, now it's just surrendering, because as soon as they get their capital taken, they start surrendering into a bunch of different pieces until it's no more, and that entire union gets taken, and now they start pushing into the wow. So yeah, they keep pushing. Oh my God, why does that keep happening? But yeah, they keep pushing in. And yeah, so Africa is like basically won by the blue team, and they start pushing back in that not Afghanistan, Pakistan, and yeah, they actually get a little bit of land in Kashmir, but it's very tiny because Kashmir is a bloodbath. Um, Russia starts an advance into the fields of China, and yeah, it's the fields of China, so valuable, the most valuable land of all time. So yeah, they start an advancement there, and people realize if they can knock out China, they actually have a chance of finally winning the war and actually have an Eastern world. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen until that happens and they actually start gaining ground, which is cool for them. But yeah, you can see the blue team is so winning this war, right? Where's the USA? Why is the USA not helping? India is barely doing anything. China's doing literally horrible. That's so many questions. But for now, they just keep on invading. They invade a lot into Turkey until they meet the city gates of Ankara. You know, yeah, but they can't advance any further because there's a bunch of troops over here. Over here in Ukraine, they get a bunch of land and they win it all over. They take the entire state of Moldova. They take the land back that Ukraine used to have. And yeah, it's really not looking good. Poland starts to get invaded. And when Poland starts to get invaded, it's not looking too good, It's not looking too good for the world. Maybe Europe? Maybe Europe, but then USA finally gets their head out of the snow and maple syrup and all that other stuff, and they push back, like a lot of pushback. So yeah, they push back in Europe, but for some reason they're not pushing back in what is it called, in Asia, because Asia is actually really important. So yeah, they push back in Europe. They even push back in Africa, but it doesn't look like it's enough. It really doesn't. It looks like they're outnumbered in this scenario, and that might get you thinking: is the blue team gonna win? Well, no, they're not. Yes, they are, guys. Yes, spoiler alert, they are gonna win. They bring out the guns, they invade the entirety of Africa, they start up into Spain, and yeah, you're like, what? No way, it actually happened. Yes, it did happen, guys. It happened. The blue team is gonna win the war. Finally, it's like a blue team's dream. It's the blue team's dream as they take Japan and they start crumbling and fumbling China. China surrenders. New Delhi is captured. India surrenders. Yes. It's a Eastern world's dream as they take a lot of Southeast Asia and Europe. They know they're not safe. Europe knows they're not safe. The Finns actually get annexed. Yep. When the Finns get annexed, it's not safe. It's not safe. You just know it's not safe. So as they start crashing in, the Easterns look like they're gonna win. The Western democracies are like, whoa, guys, what just happened? We were so strong. We were the strongest. Until at this point, we see a peace treaty being drawn up. See you guys after the peace treaty. Okay. This map is an Eastern dream. Yes, it very is. Yes, it very is. So yeah, let's get started. So basically down here in Africa, nothing really changed with these guys over here. You could say like these guys right here, but Egypt did get their land back from Libya. We had a bunch of independence things from the North African Union, West African Union, I'm pretty sure. But now it's just the West. It's still the West African Union. But now you got countries back like Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and whatever this thing is in Nigeria. And also the Central African Union got some land out of the West African Union. Um, Up here in Europe, we could see oh wait, I forgot to show you the alliance map. So I'll just keep it flipped to the alliance map so you can see what happens. They did keep all of their things and some. So yeah, over here in Europe, we could see that some countries are forced to leave. So yeah, and they can't join. You can't join the alliance. You're forced to leave until like 25 years. So that's like at least 2 episodes. Um. So yeah, that's that. And we have Finland being forced to leave, and we have Russia, getting all their Soviet things back, even though they were the Soviet Union, but now they're really the Soviet Union. Um, we have Iran taking some land from Turkey, and also Turkey is just blah blah blah. Um, um, Palestine or Israelistine, whatever you want to call it, is here in Israel, and also we have Pakistan being reverted to the 2022 borders, no 2023 borders, and that's pretty cool. Um, Over here in Asia, we can see that China loses their land over here in like Siberia-ish. Japan loses Sakhalin, and these islands. I don't know why they're not colored in Russian, but yeah, they're Russian now, and yeah, a bunch of these countries were forced to leave NATO or WDO, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, the world is now Eastern. Yes, 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 guys. I know. It took how many episodes? 9 episodes? 9 episodes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 9 episodes for the Eastern world to get this big. Now the Western world is small, broken down, destroyed. So what do they do now? Find out in Alternative Future Part 10. So yeah, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, smash that like button, and I will see you all next time. Guten Tag!